December 16, 2014. I first would like to welcome everybody here this evening, and thank you for being here, and especially wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, and a Happy Hanukkah, and a Happy, Healthy New Year. If we may start with a pledge to our nation's flag, if everyone will please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Here.
Councilmember Yazdi. I think he'll be a little severe shortly. Costa.
Here.
D'Amato.
Here.
Della Ripa.
Here.
Hudson. Here. Sondermeyer.
Present.
Also with us, Jane McCarthy, our municipal clerk, and our borough attorney, Fred Semrau, is stuck in traffic and will be here momentarily. This is an official meeting of the governing body of the Borough of Bloomingdale. On January 4th, 2014, the date, time, and place of this official meeting was faxed and mailed to all local news media and posted here at Borough Hall. There is no need for an early executive session. We have a special presentation this evening, which we will do as the first item on the agenda, and I'd ask the council if you would join me off the dais. How are you guys tonight? Good. Probably ready to do the coaches. Let's put between everyone. All right, welcome everybody. And as I say, whenever I have a group like this here, it's the best part of being mayor, and I think the council thinks the same when we get to recognize you great young athletes from Bloomingdale and Butler. And tonight we're here to celebrate you. We're here to congratulate you on the amazing achievement of being undefeated Super Bowl champions for the season. It's an incredible feat that you guys pulled off. And we're very proud of you. We're proud of your parents for supporting you. We're proud of your coaches for helping out and teaching you the game of football. So we're going to present you with certificates tonight and a special pin of the borough, like the one I'm wearing here. So we hope you cherish these items, and just understand why we're having you, because we are real proud of you guys, and keep it up. And you guys will grow together, and someday your parents will be a blink of an eye. It'll be a nice little thing together as well. So again, let's have fun tonight. Well, first, before we give certificates, what I'd like to do, because at the end I like to have a picture, the first thing I want to present to you guys are these special signs we had made. These signs which say, home of the 2014 Bloomingdale Borough Youth Club, UCJFL, that's your league, undefeated B Squad Super Bowl champs. These signs are hung around town. You've probably seen we had an A Squad win it a couple years ago, we had a B Squad win it 3 years ago. You guys will now join the club, and these will be posted all at the entrances of Bloomingdale. Then we have the same side, but in bigger fashion. This sign will be placed at the Leisure Field on the gate as you guys come to practice in your games next year. You can look at it during baseball season and the rest, but it's pretty cool. So congratulations to all of you. So we shall begin with Councilman John D'Amato, who will give out. Guys, when you come on up, get your certificate, and just stay here because we'll take a picture at the end. Yep. Councilman Tony Costa.
Andreas Harrell. Hayden Harrison. Zachary Joyce. Joseph Lacastro. Frank Lacasio.
Okay, Councilman Rich Della Ripa.
Kyle McKernan. Leo Maidosh. Aiden Ferreira.
And David Smith. Councilwoman Dawn Hudson.
I'm trapped in a sea of blue. I'll come over by shore.
Cody Sylvester Yonker. Lucas Coriello. Tyler Torcola.
What?
Daniel Wilson.
Councilman Mike Sondermeyer.
I have Lucas Findora. DJ Coffee. Joseph Connolly.
No.
Jaden DiNatale.
Oh, no.
Last but not least, I have Robert Eakins.
Okay. I have the great pleasure of introducing the coaches. Introducing most of the coaches. Hey guys, let's have a big round of applause as I announce your coaches, okay? What I want to say, again, I know some of these guys, and I've been part of the program for a while. In fact, my son graduated after 17 years. We're done, we're finished with the program, and also on the next door. But these guys are a really special bunch. You know, I see them on the field, I see them at games, I see them, particularly at the awards dinner, how they all know each and every one of your children, and how they all care for each and every one of your children. And you can see it. You can see it how they interact with them, you can see it how they deal with the children on the field or in the game. And when you speak about the children, it's really warm. You really see that these guys know your players, and we're very proud of you as well. So I'd like to begin with this one. Assistant coach, and this guy was named Coach of the Year in the BBYC program, and that would be Ray Gretsch. Coach Jim Joyce. Joe Red. Congratulations to all of you guys. One more big round of applause. What I'd like to do is get the team together. We'll try to get this in front of you so you have to stand probably behind it. There we go. So, let me back up a little bit. Guys, crunch over here. Coach in the back.
We are not running a crunch in here.
Some of you guys come over here.
Hey, it's crap.
All right, Jared. Make sure your heads are back in the road, okay? Front. All right, hey guys, thanks for coming tonight. All right, and good luck. Do well in school. Have a great Christmas. No. Have a great holiday. Guys, thanks again,
Oh, Mike went.
Good to see you.
John called. Couldn't get in touch with Mark today, so called Mike.
Call this meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. This is a regular meeting of the governing body of the Borough of Bloomingdale, Tuesday, November 25th, 2014. I'd ask everyone to please rise to salute our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Denley.
Here.
Councilmember Yasti.
Here.
Costa.
Here.
Amato. Bill Ripa.
Here.
Hudson. Here. Sondemire.
Here. Also with us are Municipal Clerk Jay McCarthy and our Borough Attorney Dawn Sullivan from Dorsey Samra Firm. This is an official meeting of the governing body of the Borough of Bloomingdale on January 4th, 2014. The date, time, and place of this official meeting was faxed and mailed to all local news media and posted here at the Bloomingdale Municipal Building. There's no need at this time for an early executive session. We have no non-agenda items, so I need a motion to open to early public comment. And before I ask for that motion, I was remiss in welcoming everybody and wishing everyone a very healthy and happy Thanksgiving to you and your families. With that said, do I have a motion to open public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak to an agenda item, please come on up, state your name and address for the record. Yes, sir.
I take it that the Pilgrim Pipeline, is that being?
Yes, it's an agenda item, yes, sir.
Very good, thank you. Good evening and thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. My name is Jerome Wagner. I'm a resident of Wayne, residing at 32 Hillside Terrace. I practice environmental I should ask also the time limit, so
You're good.
so
Right away, I'll tell you.
So far, okay. All right. So I worked for 30 years in environmental protection as an engineer. I now work extensively volunteer as an environmental advocate, being especially concerned about climate change. I'm active with a group called Coalition to Stop the Pilgrim Pipeline, and I'm going to address that project briefly this evening. I'll first acknowledge that the mayor, to my understanding, that the mayor, Councilman Della Ripa, and the Environmental Commission have already been involved in this issue, and I thank them and applaud them for that involvement and also getting this on the agenda so promptly. I'll just summarize a couple of facts that I know about the project, and I'll get into some local impacts. And again, I'll try to keep this brief. I have a written statement that I'll submit to the clerk along with some other materials as I conclude. So the Pilgrim Pipeline is proposed to be two pipelines of relatively large size, 16 inches and 18 inches, able to convey large amounts of Bakken crude from Albany down to the Linden area, and then returning, at least per the proposed plan, returning finished products such as gasoline from Linden back up to the Albany area, simply passing through this area. Bakken oil is extracted through the process of hydraulic fracturing and involves the processes and risks and so forth that are associated with natural gas development in its own processing. Bakken oil is highly flammable, having flash points as low as 0 Fahrenheit, at least in some mixtures and compositions, and has already led to tragic loss of life and property in incidents, most especially in Lac-Mégantic, Quebec, Canada, about a year ago. The precise route of the project is still under, we know the routing from some early promotional information, and I'll reflect on that briefly in my statements. I think, though, the actual route is yet to be determined through surveying and other actions and so forth, which, since applications have not been submitted yet, we don't have access to precisely. And as far, the pipeline also routes through the Highland region of New Jersey, which supplies water to many people. You're probably aware that the pipeline is intended to route along with the Spectra natural gas pipelines in this region, which in this case goes over Federal Hill, basically bisects a couple of the quarries at the Tilcon works. The expected route would go underneath the Pequannock River, and it would be about 3/4 of a mile from the residential area bordered by Van Dam Avenue here in your borough. The pipelines, the Spectra pipelines, the old pipelines which are supposed to, well, which Pilgrim is hoping to use a similar right-of-way, are themselves over 50 years old. I would expect that in the areas here in the borough that blasting would be necessary in many of those areas in order to trench, build, afford the trenches for the pipes to be placed. So I would wonder what the safety implications of blasting near those old pipelines might entail. They also may be using directional drilling, which is an advanced technology and can be successfully used. I would speculate, though, personally, again, if we're doing that kind of activity near existing pipelines which are still in service, what kind of safety precautions will be made to avoid incidents and that kind of thing. Drinking water threats, I think, are one of the paramount risks of the project, whether it involves the Highlands region or aquifers in this area. If flow was to occur in one direction or another, it could affect either sole source aquifers. I believe that you folks are supplied from wells, from drinking water wells, in the aquifers, as opposed to the surface water. Well, no, I'm wrong on that.
Some of
I think
them, some are, some aren't.
But I think you're also involved, and I should, you get surface water, I think, as well, from the Monksville-Wanacue system, from North Jersey District Water Supply Commission. That's what I should have said. But that's your principal water supply. In any event, leakage up in that area, whether it's the Oakland portions, the Malwall portions, I'm speculating, could end up in the watershed and in those surface water bodies, which would then pose a long-term pollution situation for the borough. Pilgrim Holdings is a company, a new company, without much of a corporate experience or track record and not many tangible assets. They're also focused on profitability. So those are some points I would make. At this point, there are about 11 jurisdictions in the state, ranging from Malwah up here to Chatham Borough, Chatham Township, and so forth, who have already adopted resolutions of opposition. At this time, that's a major activity of the coalition that I'm a part of, in order to educate, both educate, make aware, and try to bring public awareness, and bring our concerns forward. Again, I acknowledge the resolution that you already have in front of you, and I applaud that you have that and you're considering adopting it. I might have made a couple of suggestions, but I think whether it'd be helpful to derail things, for those kind of changes now or not, might not be helpful. I will, though, in closing, just say that acting early, in some regards, people deem this to be it's one juncture where we can do this kind of opposition. And resolutions may have a certain weight. It may not be as weighty as some people would like. On the other hand, joining those 11 communities and other half dozen who are pending, who are already doing resolutions, I think helps to send messages to investors, relative to our feelings on this kind of project. Send signals to regulators, DEP, the Highlands Coal Commission, and so forth, as to the concerns we have and the expectation we have of prudence and due diligence on their part relative to the project. And it also just helps to build the groundswell that we have at this time to take a position on a project. So I'll conclude there. Thank you for your attention.
Before you go, you were going to allude to what additional language, potentially?
Yes.
I would entertain that.
Very good. Thank you. I think at this time the resolution states strong opposition to the project in principle. I think there's that one stipulation, and I don't have a copy of the draft in front of me. The other communities have included words like call for a moratorium on planning, proposals, and surveying. A moratorium. Now the point of that is that people, perhaps not, well, I would wonder whether Tilcon has already received such a letter, but I've seen at least one person in Pompton Lakes whose property is on the right-of-way that they would like to use. They have already submitted letters to them asking for entry to their property. I've also seen a letter from the Montville area where people were threatened with use of eminent domain simply to enter for testing and surveying purposes. So I've seen tangible evidence of that. It's also been reported in the record and other media. Talking about a moratorium for surveying, I think is very relevant at this time. Requesting a full environmental review. Again, I would hope that things stop sooner than this. But if they don't, I would hope that this would be deemed a significant enough project that it would be required that whether it's the regulatory agencies or the pipeline company itself, generate a thorough review of the project in all aspects, whether it's dealing with wildlife or water supplies or safety and responsiveness or whatever, and not be simplified down to some kind of environmental statement, but rather be a full environmental review. Another point would have been simply asking, encouraging other nearby communities to adopt similar resolutions. And lastly, including the New Jersey League of Municipalities in the final distribution. They're another entity here in the state that as we get all these various municipal resolutions together, we think would be helpful advocating for us, coordinating us and so forth as further actions arise to oppose the project. So those are the specific ones. And again, this is typed up in the comments that I'll leave with the clerk.
Okay, the first one, moratorium, I'm sorry, on the first item?
Yes, moratorium on any and all. Now, the words I had here were planning, proposal, surveying, or construction. Now, I chose to focus on surveying in my comments.
Specific to crude oil pipeline?
Yes, to the Pilgrim pipeline, right.
They state, since '93, there's been over 10,000 pipeline incidents, including about 6,000 petroleum pipelines. The big sale I know they were trying to push is that it's safer than bringing it down the Hudson River. Do you have any stats on, the damage caused by doing it through the Hudson versus the statistics I see that there are over 16,000 in the last 20-year pipeline breaks on land over, a billion gallons in spill. Do you have any numbers on their argument of it, that's still safer bringing it down the river?
Okay, I'll also acknowledge that not only is it coming down rivers, but also on trains through Bergen County and so forth. So there are several routes of approach into New Jersey, all of which have unique risks and pros and cons and so forth. So I'm not going to try to offer a one is better than the other type of overgeneralization. I have some other information, sort of some citations here. There's a report called The Analysis of U.S. Oil Spillage, which was produced by the American Petroleum Institute, which is an industry-funded or industry advocate, back in 2009. And there's a URL here. It has a table which shows relative number of I think it's volume. So it's gallons of releases from barges, rail, pipelines. So there is some very specific data there. Now, it does not try to quantify the remedial impacts or costs, but it does at least quantify, in a relative sense, the volumes of spillage. And even in that case, it was pipelines, inland pipelines, that was the most far and away, the highest volume. As far as other impacts, I'm not able to comment generally at this time. I haven't generated that information for myself.
What do they consider an incident?
That's a good question, and I don't.
Probably any spill of any sort.
From my industrial.
An incident could
It goes by
literally be.
in our world, in fire department world, hazmat oil spills, it goes by gallon spill, spreadage, where we have a minimum of, say, 2 gallons. I'm sure there's, and we can self-contain it, so there's probably, an incident for them is probably a lot larger than an incident for.
My question though is, what do they consider an actual incident? Do they consider someone getting injured an incident? Do they consider a spill an incident?
Well, I think what we're referencing in our resolution is specific to spills.
I would like to know that.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
it isn't specific to this, but I
Well, then
am
that's
curious.
the cause of spill.
Right. The intent here is to pass this resolution, and upon adoption, I will request the additional whereas clauses, requesting moratorium on surveying, full environmental review, and encouraging other communities as well. Also, for the record, I am on the League of Municipalities Executive Board. Next Wednesday, we have our annual business meeting, and I plan on presenting the resolution at that meeting as well.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Okay, we're good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll leave these materials. Thank you.
Anyone else to an agenda item? That was easy. Seeing no one, motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, professional reports, council, anything for us?
Recreation had been looking to entertain possibly fee for use of the ball fields next year for club teams or teams that aren't associated with the Bloomingdale Borough area.
Sure. Yeah, I heard that was under discussion, something where the percentage of players must be drive there.
Or was the flat fee or they have
Good. No, I think we support that, it's their call, but,
and so at some point then it goes to our, adopt a fee.
Correct.
Or
amend our fee ordinance.
amend that.
Excellent. And they also have next Saturday is the holiday event at 2 p.m. in Walter D. Bergen. Santa Claus is arriving by helicopter. It's a rec function as well. Thank you, Mike. Anyone else?
I did want to mention that a number of us went to the League of Municipalities convention. It was very worthwhile. I took some interesting classes, and if anybody has any interest in the classes that I took afterwards, I can discuss that at length. But it was a good experience.
Excellent experience. Anyone else?
I just want to mention that at a previous, I guess the last Board of Ed meeting before last, they donated some sort of Cub Cadet mower device.
Yes, mower.
To the borough. I'm not sure if that's been received by the borough yet. or
It
not.
has. It had a steering column problem, which we're repairing, and we're able to use it primarily for the plowing the sidewalks. So it's going to be a great asset to the borough. So
yeah, I thanked them during the meeting, but
we should do a formal thank you to the Board of Ed. So
Yes.
we'll prepare that for our next agenda. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else have anything? Jane, do you have anything for us? Go ahead, anything for us? Okay. Just a couple items. Our DEP infrastructure loan program project has begun. You'll see the action now by Oak Street and Union Avenue, where we are replacing 2-inch water mains with new 8-inch water mains on 5 roads in town. And that was applied through a zero-interest loan through the DEP. And I'm glad to see that project is underway, though the paving, there will be full curb-to-curb paving, but not until the spring. So it's a good start. We are in the process of building a recycling center at DPW. We are obtaining pricing. We may have lost our frame on concrete work, so maybe in early spring, but there's a possibility we can still get it done. And it'll be a center where it'll be open for residents to bring, right now you can just bring paper on weekends. The plan is to allow residents to bring commingled paper, white metals, etc., 6 days a week to the borough. Details to follow once we have it all set and ready to go. So that's just another added service for our residents. We remind residents it's leaf season, and it's imperative that leaves are not put curb line. You just clog the storm drains and create a nightmare when we get the snows and the rain. So we did a reverse 911, and most people comply, but we will have a zero tolerance with that issue because it's real important to keep our roads clean along those lines. We started the budget process for 2015. I received most of our department heads' requests. We hope to put the budget committee together and finalize a budget hopefully by February, and be in good shape for 15 as well. Again, that's really all I have at this time.
Speaking,
Yes, sir?
didn't I thought I remembered hearing at the conference that that the budgets in general were being delayed somewhat because they still didn't have an idea of when the governor would be presenting his budget, and that of course.
Which would pertain to our state aid numbers.
Yeah, right.
Right. The state wants us to adopt by April. Normally we introduce by April and try to adopt by May. They are kind of flexible with their, the firm dates, but our goal is to adopt as soon
Right,
as
I
we
just
can.
wanted to point out for the council that the dates may be a little different this year, depending upon what happens.
Right. But our goal again is to get it done. I don't like operating on a temporary budget any longer than we have to. And at our reorg, just so everyone knows, this is a slight change. We usually have a reorganization on New Year's Day, and we're going to have it on the Tuesday after New Year's Day, which is January 6th. So that'll be the swearing in of our returning councilman-elect Yazdi and John D'Amato and myself. It will be on Tuesday the 6th rather than New Year's, and I know I made a lot of people happy by doing that. So that'll be good. All right. So moving along, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda, which only consists of minutes from our October 21st and November 10th meetings. Who makes that motion?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Pending business. The first item is second and final reading on ordinance 17, 2014 credit card fees. I need a public notice statement, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this ordinance was posted in the municipal building, published in the Herald News. Copies available to the public, so the motion may be made that it be read by title.
And who makes that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that's an ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale in the County of State, and State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 2, Administration, Articles E, Policies and Procedures of the Code of the Borough of Bloomingdale by adding Section 2-84, credit card fees, to reflect a transaction fee for any payments made by credit card.
And simply what we're doing here before I ask for motion for public hearing is anytime we charge fees, we have to amend our fee ordinance. And we have been charging credit card fees, and we recently are signing on with a new vendor, a third-party vendor, for our Visa, MasterCard, et cetera. And as the fee ordinance will say, Borough of Bloomingdale, again, can charge a fee for taxes, sewer, water payments, et cetera, not to exceed 2.0785% of the total amount of payment. Again, we do a flat fee on recreation of $5 in our fee ordinance, but this is just amending based on our new terms with a new credit card vendor. So with that said, I need motion to open public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak on 17-214 credit card fees, please come on up. Give your name and address for the record. So you know a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did you need a roll call on that? Okay, we're good. And now I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Costa,
Yes.
D'Amato.
Yes.
Del Rippe.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Sandemeyer.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
Okay, moving along. Second and final reading for ordinance 18/2014, carbon monoxide regulation. Public notice statement, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this ordinance was posted in the municipal building, published in the Herald News, copies available to the public, so the motion may be made that it be read by title.
And who makes that motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
An ordinance amending chapter 14, adding section 14-5, carbon monoxide.
And before I move to open public hearing, this is simply amending chapter 14, adding the section carbon monoxide detectors, where we are going to be the first community in the state of New Jersey to enforce the installation of those units in daycare centers and nursery schools. We do not have jurisdiction for any public school system, but we are doing it for licensed nursery and daycare facilities. Carbon monoxide detectors shall be installed and maintained within 10 feet of any area with sleeping or napping children. One detector shall be located each 1,000 feet of sleeping or napping area and must be located and designated by our fire official. So I need a motion to open public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak to 18/2014, please come on up. State your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, motion to close.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
And who moves to adopt?
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmembers D'Amato.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Sandemeyer.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
Costa.
Yes.
Okay, now we are second final reading on ordinance 19/2014, vacant and abandoned property amendment. Public notice statement, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this ordinance was posted in the municipal building, published in the Herald News, copies available to the public, so the motion may be made that it be read by title.
And who makes that motion?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
An ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale in the County of Passaic and State of New Jersey amending Chapter 11, Building and Housing, Section 11-8, vacant and abandoned property, Section 11-8.4, fee schedule of the Code of the Borough of Bloomingdale.
Okay, thank you. And before I motion to open public hearing, this is simply, we adopted a vacant abandoned building ordinance this year, last year, beginning of this year. And it does have fees. And the efforts of this ordinance was to bring some accountability to the vacancies and abandoned buildings we have through a registration process. And this will hopefully result in mortgage companies, who are primarily the owners of these properties, to the obvious of continue to maintain them, but hopefully get an initiative to try to move them and get them occupied. And being that there's fees in this ordinance, we are simply amending it, listing the fee schedule, which is a $250 initial registration, a $500 first year renewal, $1,000 up to the next 5 years, and then $5,000 after that. So we do hope that it is an initiative for absentee landlords and/or mortgagees in many cases to bring some accountability to the process. And we've begun the registration process. It's been successful. It allows our property maintenance official to, one, identify all the ones in town, because a lot of times taxes are paid and mortgagees stay on them, so, you know, and for the most part maintain. We have a few headache ones in town, which again, we're taking a zero tolerance with property maintenance. So we're simply codifying and amending with listing these fees in our fee ordinance. In order to It was piece to just
Same